Hey Austin, so today for class, same warm-up as last week. You can expect that I'm probably going to do the same warm-up pretty much this whole quarter just because we're doing the same movements. Kind of like last week, feel free to, I know that I have specific numbers for the movements in a specific order. Flow through that however you want. I'm not too concerned there. Then yeah, 15 squats, 8 alternating pullovers, 8 alternating reverse lunges, and another 8 alternating pullovers. And then the workout, what I have is I have 2 movements and I have 3 different stations. So at each station, they're going to be working for 8 minutes. And then they're going to get 2 minutes of rest / transition / write down their weights and stuff. So I told them during those 8 minutes, you are trying to keep on moving kind of back and forth between the 2 movements. Sure, if you need some rest, cool, take it, whatever. Or want to grab a quick drink, whatever you need to do, totally fine. But like as much as we can, we should kind of be moving back and forth. And none of the movements are crazy gonna like wipe people out, so there shouldn't be much need for a ton of rest. People are getting through 3 or 4 rounds of the movements. Station number 1, what we have is ATG split squats. I think I've seen you do these with a couple clients. I always like to explain what this ATG stands for is ass to grass. So fully progressed, that would be on the floor. We're covering as much of our hamstring with our calf as possible and coming back. And then I usually give a line like, but your knees might explode just looking at that, and that's why I have the boxes out. So along the wall, I had set up 12s, 6s, and 3s and some different combinations just so people have some options. And I let them know, hey, you're welcome to like shift them around, change them around as you need to go higher or lower. Making sure we come all the way from the leg being straight, take your time, pushing in, pause for a sec, and coming back. Couple things to note, chest stays up tall and back leg stays nice and straight. They might feel a stretch in the knee, maybe in their back leg hip flexor, maybe anywhere else in their lower body. Really good stretch. Nobody was adding weight today. If they wanted to make it harder and they looked good, then they could go lower. And you probably won't run into this, but if you had someone who was an absolute super flexy beast like Beth in this morning class, she could come and I can't do it. But she had her back leg on 6 inches and then was coming into that. 15 inches is insanely high. But I don't think you have anybody that's super mobile that you'll need to worry about in class with that tonight. So yeah, like I said, station 1, ATGs, and then 10 of a barbell bent over retraction. So really cueing people that we're not trying to shrug up, we're trying to squeeze the shoulder blades behind while the arms stay straight. So hinging over here and then getting the good pull back, squeeze those shoulder blades for a second, control it out. Pull back, squeeze the shoulder blades for a second, let it out. This is definitely a funkier one and people were having a hard time picking up on it, but they should feel a really good burn kind of in those middle and lower traps. I had all the guys working with a 45-pound bar and then all the ladies with a 35-pound bar. So I'd set out a 45, 35, 35. For those, I told people, hey, if you want to add weight, you can, but you probably don't need to if we're really focused on a really good retraction. Like that's the main focus, is that really good retraction, not necessarily going as heavy as we can and barely shrugging at all. Definitely one that you're gonna be coaching and cueing a lot with that. Then station 2, we had pullovers and dumbbell lateral raises. So pullovers, I explained last week, we are going flat on the bench like this, or laying down and pulling over. But this week we're turning it. And I really want people to focus on, if they want more of a stretch, really sinking their hips. And then pulling as deep as possible, nice and slow, controlled. And with those arms straight. Sorry, I know the audio gets a little funky when the mic gets up to my neck. But yeah, keeping the arms straight, trying to sink the hips to really get a nice round back and a really big stretch through there. You'll notice I put in the notes for this class that I would recommend putting down weights that are maybe like 2.5 to 10 pounds lighter than what they were using last week. So if somebody was using like a 40-pound dumbbell last week, I might have them use like a 30. Someone was using like a 10. I might just drop them down to a 7.5 just because this is a little bit more of a stretch, a little bit more intense than when we're solid on the bench. So that was the first exercise of station 2. Second, focus on pouring out that beer. Just single arm side lateral raises. Telling people, trying to get a little bit above parallel. We don't need to come all the way to here, just a little bit above. And most importantly, making sure that we're not shifting our weight away. Cueing people or letting people know that, hey, you probably don't need super heavy weights there. Maybe most ladies 7.5s, maybe 10s, guys 10s, maybe up to 15s-ish. You don't need super heavy weight. Just focus on a nice controlled lower on that. That was station 2. Station 3, I'm going to be working on a little bit of below the knees this quarter. So today was down and back, and so I did from the orange tape line to the concrete, so like the length of the gym, not the width of the gym. One time down and back, walking on their heels, so really trying to keep those toes up as high as possible. So down and back on the heels, and then down and back on the toes. People were welcome to use dumbbells if they wanted, or like a farmer's carry if they wanted. But again, I told people, like, just focus on staying as high as you can. I'd rather see way higher in body weight than not as high and weighting them a bunch. And then 12 to 15 toe touches. So that was just whatever it took to get them really feeling like their core is getting pretty smoked. So on their back, I want the hips up and off the floor, and then starting with the shoulders down. Good reach up towards the toes, controlled lower. Good reach up, controlled lower. And really emphasizing that controlled lowering portion. Sometimes you see people just kind of flopping their way up. And then they're welcome to add a plate or a dumbbell to weight that. Nice controlled lift and controlled lower. Yeah, and then for a cool down, I took a lacrosse ball, worked into people's mid traps, kind of mid and lower traps, and then I had people come into, and then I worked into right above the knees, kind of into some of those tendons right above the knees, and a little bit of like the bottom part of the quad. And then lastly, either threading the needle or coming into an armless prayer here, kind of for that cool down. Whatever you think that people are needing, try to get in 2 or 3 stretches. Yeah, that is all I've got. Hopefully this will upload in a timely fashion and I can get it to you. If not, we'll just talk about class when you come in. But anyways, thanks Austin, see you tonight.